day, whereas the Pharisees and Sadducees were like the preachers of the day. The scribes were more like the lawyers. They were very well versed in law, in the law of Moses, and they too demanded a certain type of respect. They carried with them a certain type of awe. When Pharisees walked by, or scribes or Sadducees, the people responded to them because they were expected to respond to them. The people saw them and reverenced them. The people saw them and there was a bit of a, oh, he's holy type of attitude. And so for Jesus to begin this discussion, as, by the way, he's sitting in the temple, they're walking by him. The Pharisees, the Sadducees, the scribes, the Essenes are all walking around him. And he looks at them, and all the people are kind of bowing to them and kind of showing them reverence and being careful with them. And so Jesus, what a shock for Jesus to stand here and go, yeah, beware about them. Whoa, what? Beware of them. We reverence them, honor them. There's an awe there with them. Jesus says, beware. Beware, be careful with them. Notice what he points out. Beware of the scribes who like to walk around in long robes. These were ornate robes. These showed their position and their power. And they were, the robes that they wore showed that they were not accustomed to hard labor. Other people did hard labor. They wore these long robes with long sleeves that were very colorful, very bright. So when people saw them, they immediately recognized them apart from the rabble. You understand? There were the scribes, the Pharisees, and the Sadducees, and there was everybody else. And they wore their clothing like that. So when they wore this clothing, people went, oh, we know who they are. We know that though we may not know their name, we may not recognize their face, we know that clothing. And so we immediately go, oh, they're one of them. Jesus says, be careful with that. They like to walk around with the long robes. They like respectful greetings in the marketplaces. When they walked in, they expected you to greet them with titles that were high and lifted up, rabbi and stuff like that. They wanted reverence from the people. They demanded respect from them, and the people would give them that respect. Chief seats in the synagogues, when they walked in, they expected to go, oh, you have to sit in the back. Come, we're going to set you up front. Oh, they liked that. They really liked that. Because then they were seen by everyone. They were seen being ushered in by someone. Get up, you can't sit there. He's going to sit there. This is his place. When they walked into any type of banquet, they immediately expected you to stand up, and they would stand up, they would greet them, and then they would usher them all the way up and seat them at the very front. Chief seats in the synagogues, the best seats in the synagogue, places of honor at banquets. Oh, sit here at the head of the table. Don't sit back there. Sit at the head of the table. These are all things that Jesus is pointing out about the scribes. But then he goes deeper than clothing. Then he goes deeper than the way people treat them. He goes deeper and he hits the heart. And he says, who devour widows' houses. Whoa, what? They were the lawyers. And so they would take the widows who had no other source of income coming in, and they would take these widows and they would say, I stand with you and I'll be your advocate. I'll be your protector. And then they would just overcharge them. They were known for not caring really for the widows. They would fill their own pockets. The weren't so concerned about filling the kingdom of God as they were filling their own coffers in their own pockets. And so they would absolutely rip off these widows. And they would walk away calling them an advocate, though they were just fleeced by them. And for appearance's sake, they offer long prayers, long, loud, drawn-out prayers in public places, so people would see them and go, oh, he's holy. Oh, he's righteous. You go, how could they fall for that? We do the same thing. We see people and pastors and apostles and bishops and all the titles walk around, strut around, looking like they just stepped off of the GQ magazine, and we bow and we reverence and we awe, and you don't know their heart. Everything they did was outward. Everything they did was attention from me. Show me attention. The long robes, the loud prayers, everything was about pay attention to me. Honor me, reverence me. It was all about them, and they had forgotten who they were serving in the first place. And then Jesus says, these will receive greater condemnation. For whom much has been given, much is required. And God had placed these men in positions of authority. The Pharisees, the Sadducees, the scribes, all of them, their one job, their chief aim, their only thing they had to do was to point people to God. That's it. That's all they had to do. Just lead people to God. But instead, they took the talents they were given, they took the abilities they were given, they took all that God gave them, and they did not give to the community. They used those to take more from their people. So they took from God and they're taking from people. It's all about me. It's all about me. You do recognize that God has given some of you talents and abilities and wisdom. Not some of you, all of you. Are you using it correctly? Are you using it to further His kingdom? Because you will be required. You're required to. And God, you will one day, just as they will, stand before the Father and give an account for the abilities He's given you, for the talents He's given you. Are you using it to further the kingdom? Are you using it for His honor, His glory, or just for applause from men? And Jesus said in Matthew 6:5, when you pray, you're not to be like the hypocrites, the play actors. That's what hypocrite means, a play actor, someone putting on a play, someone acting like something they're not. For they love to stand and to pray in the synagogues and on the street corners so that they may be seen by men. Truly, I say to you, they have their reward in full. Their applause from men, that's their reward. The way people treat them and honor them, that's their reward. That's all they're going to get, though. Because it's not to glorify me, it's to glorify themselves. Greater condemnation. These men were drains, not fountains. Two types of people in the world I found. Some who were drains, and the rest are fountains. Do you take, always taking, but never giving? I don't want to be a drain. I want to be a fountain. I want to give for His honor, for His glory, not for any other reason. They were more concerned about themselves than about the Lord.